The Central Club.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by the Kinnenhill Coffee Shop and Sage Precision Hair Care. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's contacted us and the feedback we've had from the first two episodes. They were that good that we had to swap the coffee mugs for party cups. We've got a great guest lined up today. A legend in his own right in the Wales music scene in the UK, and he basically created his own subgenre. I've known him as Phil over the years and other names, but you might know him as TRAXX. What's going on, mate?
Yes, bro. What's going on?
How's things?
A big intro, man.
Well, a big intro for the big character, man.
Yeah, what's going on?
Most definitely. I'm just so happy to have you here, man. Serious.
Yeah.
It's mad how we bumped past about, what was it, a month ago now?
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't seen you for a long time. You've been a busy guy.
Yeah.
How's life?
And all this time I knew you, I never knew you were Greek.
Yeah, my father,
He just
man.
dropped it to me. He was like, yeah, I'm Greek. And I was like, I always knew I liked you.
Yeah,
But like, I never knew, like. do you know what I mean?
It's my father's side, isn't it? My grandfather's Greek.
Yeah,
and
yeah. As
the
soon as I
missus.
seen your dad in the car, I was like, oh, okay. I see it
Yeah,
now.
it's
And
one of
then
them.
your personality and all that clicked. It made sense. Do you get me?
Yeah, respect.
But yeah,
Obviously,
man.
the amount of times I've been on holiday with my dad and people will be like, excuse me, do you have the time? And they're like, he's like, yeah, it's 10 o'clock. To bring, like, people think he's a foreigner and stuff. It's mad, but
Yeah.
you've always been proud of where you're from, and obviously you've been outspoken. I've seen you on music videos repping your Greek flag. Or should I say Cypriot?
Cypriot, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have because, like, I was raised more in the Greek part of my family, do you get me?
Yeah.
Like at my yaya and bapu's house, like Greek music playing, Greek food. Like, you know, the typical, like, Middle Eastern house with, like, ornaments. And
Yeah, Mediterranean
yeah,
style.
like, it's just, like, grew up in that, do you get me? And to be honest, like, I was, like, a fat, happy kid. Like, eating... like Greek meatballs and just loving my life. And then it was when I went to like high school and everyone was like, you're fat, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't even know what that meant. Do you get me? Because I was just like, yo, I don't know what you mean. I'm happy. Like, but like, it's because like Greek people smother you with like love and food and stuff. And then when I went to school, I was like, Raz, why is everyone so
well, in places
picky,
like that,
like,
being
you get
big
me?
is healthy.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's a statement sort of thing,
Yeah,
isn't it? In
yeah,
places
yeah.
like Africa, the Mediterranean, and if you're big, you're normally like, you know, you're wealthy or you're very healthy anyway, you know. So, so how's things been, mate? Obviously you've been a very busy guy over the last couple of years with Astroid Boys and obviously your new venture with XL Life. Can you tell me a bit what's been happening?
like the past couple of years? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Let's take it back a bit first. Then should we take
Go
it
on,
back a bit?
Yeah, man.
What do you think,
Obviously, you know, your catalogue is extensive. Do you know what I mean? You've done so much. You've experienced so many different things, more than any. You know, you've experienced more than what most people have ever experienced in their entire life, in 5 lifetimes. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, I think we should just go straight back to, you know, because obviously Grime, you know, it's a UK thing. It's been around for the last 20 years, something like that. So, you know, tell us about your start and like how you managed to go from early days in the youth centre with cutting, spitting bars to, you know.
I think it probably started with punk, to be honest, like before that, because like when I was younger, like I was in punk bands and that. I was in like this one punk band when I was like in year 9, year 10, and like I think in year 10 or year 11 I was like playing shows in London and stuff, like in this punk band. Shout out Morgan. Morgan, the drummer, is now the tattooist in Frontier, innit? And Di and Mehdi, like they looked after me like I was younger. Do you get me? Go on.
Morgan, yo, that's
Shout out.
mad. I used to cut his hair. And
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, he was a drummer in the band. He used to pick
That's
me up in a
mad.
Clio and used to drive around
Glasses.
play shows. Now, yeah.
That's mad.
And like this is like obviously way back. Do you get me? And I was just but like I was in those like that punk thing. Do you know what I mean? Like our angry kids and that, like household was broken and life was a bit whatever, and then punk is just a sick answer to that.
What do you mean by broken? Like, so for example, like, can you explain that? Like, when you say broken, if you don't mind going into that.
Just like I don't know, like, you know what I mean. I don't like to go into it because as life's gone on, like, I don't know, like I've grown like a new found like respect for my parents and like honor my parents differently now. So I don't mind talking about the past, but I don't like to like dishonor my parents about the past.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to say like, dad did this and mum did this, but like it was peak. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Like in the household, and then probably peaker than a lot of even my close friends know. But like, do you get me? Like I was in and out of the house all the time, like running away from home or getting kicked out. And do you know what I mean? Like at one point when I was in high, like I don't remember how old I was, but like I used to hated going home so much. I used to stay out like all night. I was late as like all night in the cold, and then I caught pneumonia and had to have an operation because my house was like, I didn't want to go home and that. Like, so like, but then yeah, punk is like obviously like punk is like a
rebellion sort of music, isn't it?
I was gonna say like what people think punk is probably not what it is. We're sold that it's like the Sex Pistols and the Ramones and like
Johnny
British
Rotten.
like anarchism and stuff, but it's not. Like punk, where it started from, is more of like a pure thing. It's more like, we believe in something, so we're gonna stand for it, and we come from a rough background, so we're all gonna stick together, and like, so I come into it like that, and then obviously grime kicked in, and life where it was getting difficult, and obviously just my environment, just like, like Marcus knows, like even like with the area that we were in, and now we're around people where UK culture is, we're around British culture, so grime came in, that's the culture we live around, can't escape it, you get me? So like got into grime, but then grime is the same energy as punk in its purest form. So that's why for me I was like, yeah, I'm in on this. Like, do you know what I mean?
What is grime? Like, because there's people out there who are going to be listening to this thinking, from all ages, they want to know, because punk is like, it's a bit older than grime, isn't it? But like, what actually is grime? Explain it to people.
Like, generally 140 BPM instrumentals and people writing bars and like trying to get catchy lines that are going to make people want to reload the track so you can spit it again. I guess that's like, I don't know, it's just a really bad explanation, but it's in a nutshell, yeah. And it's like, but punk is like you're shouting what you think down the mic, and in grime, when you look at radio sets, man are shouting down the mic. Exactly. It's the same energy. So yeah, like I just got into grime, but then grime was like, now obviously drill, and it's like new trends change and that, but back then grime was like the flex.
The drill, yeah.
Like, that was the drill.
That was what was popping. I seen I think when I was in prison about 2-3 years ago, I watched the Glastonbury, and it was Liam Gallagher, and he come off stage, and he was like, where are you going to be spending the rest of your night? He went, well, I'm going to go in the grime tent with the Stormzy Boys, because they reckon it's like the new punk rock. Like, so even these artists can see it from, they were around when punk was about and growing up and in their genre. If they can see it, that grime mirrors that, I could totally understand how you went from
like just drifted into it. But obviously, like Cullen knows, like I used to go around like every ends and every like community centre, like, or youth centre, with my little Nokia. Like I saved up to get this little dead Nokia to film videos, and then I used to go.
It had a good camera on it though, didn't it? For the time, it was the one, like, that was the one to
it was
have.
like 720, whatever it is. I was like, yeah, boys, what? And filmed like every youth centre,
St. Helens, Ely, Fairwater.
Ends to ends, remember?
Yeah, ends to ends, like Cardiff Manor.
Cardiff Manor, yeah, volume 1, 2.
It's dumb, but I just liked making videos and documenting. I liked to see what everyone was on and connecting the ends together and stuff. But obviously, I was just on my own getting buses and that, like.
Yeah, you could tell from that moment on if there was anyone who was going to not go mainstream, because I know that you're totally against that, but for someone to get signed, or if someone was going to do it with work rate, it was Phil. And everyone said that, bro. And I seen it from early.
Yeah.
A lot of us, like you said, would just want to just spit a couple of tracks, whether it was the Fairwater Boys sending to the Ely Boys, whether it was your boys up Lamremney, Eyes, your EOM and that doing their thing, and
I would say that it's half a good thing, half a bad thing though, because like one half of it was like I am talented for bringing people together and like being a tastemaker and stuff like that. And obviously in what I do now, it's like it's come full circle. But the other half of it was coming from like an unhealthy place, which is basically, I'll just say it, like I think a lot of musicians tend to get into music from like a broken place, and tend to get into music from like especially for me, it was like rejection and abandonment kind of thing. So you go into music thinking that that's going to fill that gap of rejection.
Yeah.
So like the drive that I had
Was just
like
a feel.
was half of it was unhealthy, because I was like, yo, I just want people to rate me, or I just want people to this, or it's like desperation. And even now when I work with artists now, I'm like, yo, let's talk about that, because
you can see it in them.
once you get rid of that, you will make better music and you'll be a better person, you'll be more at peace. But for me back then, I was the most desperate. That's why I worked so hard. That's why I was everywhere fighting to be like, yo, like, because I was so desperate to be like, yo, like,
To be
do you get me?
Yeah.
I needed it, do you get me? And I probably needed that and had that drive unhealthily all the way up until the height of Astroid Boys. And then I realised it and was like, I need to go home.
Do you think making music's dangerous?
Making music in general.
Do you think like making music, like people overlook like the thing of like actually making music and being involved and engrossed in making music? Do you think it can be a dangerous thing if it's misused?
No, I think it's what music can bring. The popularity of music. Music is so powerful, yeah. Like, I'll credit it to the person, I'm just trying to remember who said it. I saw on Instagram, I think it was PA, yeah. He said, yeah, that books can be destroyed, like, and anything can be destroyed, but you can't destroy music. That's how powerful music is. And obviously we know that, yeah, but I'm just saying, because music is so powerful, people can make a song and then it could change so much. Do you get me? Overnight. It could change their life, it could make them have millions of followers. That's the dangerous thing, is how powerful music is. But the art of making music is pure. Do you know what I mean? It's therapy for some people. It's enjoyment. Do you know what I mean? Like making music in itself, no. But I just think what comes with it, maybe.
Do you reckon it depends on the type of music though? Because obviously if people are talking about drill, things like that, stabbing each other, obviously that's promoting violence, and then that's bad as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
bro, like, let's just like strip it down to the basics, yeah. It's the power of life and death is in your tongue, innit? What you declare with your mouth is powerful. Like we were talking about it outside in the context of like law of attraction and that. Yeah. But like, because the power of what you say is, what you say is so powerful, then obviously if you're declaring Enquiries, you're going to bring that to your life. Yeah, so there's that aspect to it. But who am I, or who is anyone to say that someone can't express themselves however they need to get things off their chest and out of there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's the people that don't say anything that are in the worst trouble. Like, you got things built up, emotions, and you can't bypass that, otherwise you suppress it and it explodes. Do you know what I mean? So I'm all down for people getting the pen out and saying what they need to say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that.
That's a really good point, isn't it, really? I think it's in everyday life with any profession, it's how you use it, how you take advantage of it, how you channel it. So at them early days of your life, obviously, like you said, you was going round, you was really trying to get that gratification off people. And did you the levels you reached, was you always aspiring to do that, or was it just a way just to channel and cope in ways, like you said?
No, I was from a youth watching concerts and on telly, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, not just talking about like from a hip hop or rap context. You're looking at like rappers with all the money and that kind of chains and cars, like especially like MTV Bass, and like around them times that was the lick. But for me, I was watching like bands like Rage Against the Machine that are performing to like a Woodstock 1999, and I'm thinking, yo, I'm looking to do that. And I was always aspiring to do that. And even to this day, I don't think I fully like I haven't met my mark with shows. I think I got shows to play. Do you get me? But
you've still got things to tick off.
yeah, definitely. But I was always aspiring to it, and I was like, that's why I didn't enjoy any. I did enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I should, because every time we played a big show, I'd be like, bigger. Like every time we did a mad show, I'd be like, madder. Like we're gonna get bigger and madder. Like every show, and everyone used to be like, especially Benji used to be like, bro, like. Don't switch off, like you need to enjoy yourself and have a drink and that. But like obviously I didn't drink. I did sometimes back then, but like I didn't really drink. And I was always like, nah, thinking I was right. But really I should have just enjoyed myself.
Enjoyed the moment, yeah.
Bro.
But yeah.
Do you have any mad experiences from doing shows like you can share?
Yeah, like thousands. Like,
Yeah.
I bet.
What's the maddest
I don't
thing?
know, like-
Well,
it's hard to answer that question, bro, to be honest. Like seeing some sights.
I can imagine. When did it start getting to that? Because I remember you obviously, like you said, going around all these areas.
Yeah.
The MCD days. I remember when you've done New City Order with Kane,
Yeah.
Alicia Scott, SKO.
Yeah.
How did that transition switch from New City Order TRAXX to Astroid Boys? Like, how did you
Like,
come into person with Benji?
I won't like go into it, yeah, because it's long, but I'll skim over it quick, yeah.
Just give us a little touch.
When was the day, when you were sat in that studio with Duval, which is your producer at the time?
Yeah.
What was the day where you blended punk
Yeah.
with grime? When did you sit there, right, and you must have turned the sound on one thing, done whatever you needed to do, Duval does this, you do that. When was the day where you were like, oh my days,
Yeah.
we've actually just created our own sound?
Yeah, I'll literally, like, I can answer the question like that now, watch. So basically, where I was doing the grime thing, obviously, like, I thought I was rough in it, because that was just the vibes, wasn't it? Grime was like, and I had pain, so I was like, yo, I am rough, because I got pain, so, like, I'll like, you can see it in my face, kind of thing. So that got me in trouble, obviously, because really deep down, I'm not that a person. So like, I get myself into situations and be like, yo, I don't actually want to be in these environments. Like, I don't actually want to be slinging this or doing that. So like, I got myself in trouble.
When you say that, what were you doing at the time, if you were willing to share it? Like,
just like just like
everyday stuff, which
Shane in, Rene's in,
Yeah,
like everything
yeah.
that you would do, like in that, like we
Street
were just
stuff.
there, like like obviously we weren't like thugs, gangsters, like obviously not trying to say it like that, but we were just like little rats, like, do you get me? We were just
Asbos.
it's so true, bro.
yeah, we were just like, and to be honest, just whatever was chaotic, like, do you know what I mean?
You're
Sometimes,
attracted to it as well, aren't you?
like, sometimes we go out and just do stupid things. Like, I don't even want to say it because I feel like people would hear it and just be like, ugh. But we did stupid things like breaking things and like mainly getting into like stupid fights and like robberies and stuff. But like we did all of that, but I wasn't really that person. And like I have friends around me that fell off because they were like, we're not on that. But I don't know why I stuck around for so long trying to prove myself. Like, obviously my dad probably undermined me, my masculinity and stuff, like growing up. So I was just like, nah, like, do you get me? And I was like going boxing, and I was like, yes. But like, obviously I had my fair share of like scraps and things like that. But bro, I got battered, do you know what I mean? Like, I got battered, bro. Like, my teeth, my jaw, like everything. But where that happened to me, I'll skim through it. Where that happened to me, I started to break down because I got beat up and I had things going on and people coming to my house, and my mum was disabled in the house, and it was just all chaos. Yeah, it was a chaotic moment of my life. Crashed my motorbike like 3 times, and I was just in hospital, like, what's going on? And then I went to Cyprus because my mum was like, we gotta get out of there, go back to Cyprus, and you need to sort your head out. So we went to Cyprus, and then, like, I'll skim over it. Like, if you want to go back to it later, we can, but we can skim over it, yeah. But basically, I changed who I was and figured out that, like, I'm not that person, and had some, like, experiences when I was away, like, I don't say spiritually, but, like, you know. And then I came back, and then that's when I came back, changed my angle, not tactically, but just came back and was like, I'm going to try something new. And I came back, and that's when, like, Astroid Boys and, you know, I say like New City Order and stuff, that was after that. you know, but then Astroid Boys came out of good vibes, and telling your story rather than trying to be like a certain person. It happened because of this pivotal change that happened in Cyprus. So I came back, and then that's when I was like, all right, let's do Astroid Boys. Something new, something different, something that's not about like the typical things.
Did you?
You know?
Yeah, of course.
Do you get what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
When you was over there, when you was at home at Cyprus, was you watching? You know, was you still keeping track on the music scene in Cardiff and in the UK? Was you not watching anything? Or?
No internet, bro. No phone. Like no internet,
I can
no
imagine.
phone.
It's like
I had a portable DVD. This is like youngers will probably. I don't know if any younger would listen to me, but if younger listen to this, they'd be like, "What do you want?" I had a portable DVD player, and it was like some foreign dinky like Blockbuster type thing, and I'll go there looking for English DVDs, and I found like Jay-Z, Fade to Black, like Lauryn Hill, the acoustic performance,
concerts,
like Erykah Badu, like live DVDs and that. It's probably why I love them now. Like I still watch music documentaries and stuff all the time. I was watching on my little portable DVD player, but the same one every night, like watching Jay-Z every night. And then in the days, we were just like working in the village. It was like a little small village in Cyprus, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like nothing. Like,
did it humble you then, being back home in Cyprus? And
it scared the life out of me, because my mind was tormenting me, innit? Like I would probably think that, like, I probably went close to like schizophrenia, I reckon.
Being here or over there?
No, when I was in Cyprus. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it's like, I don't even like saying it, because even still saying it,
no, it's cool,
makes
man.
me a little bit like, so I think of the right way to say it. It's like, it makes me deep the miracle, because bro, like, I'll be honest, like, like something was tormenting me, bro. Do you get me? I felt like it was something, like, you call it schizophrenia or whatever, but like I was out there and I felt like things would just say like, go on, just kill yourself, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? And like I know you've been through mad stuff, and like you felt them things, but it was strong, bro. Like there was like a cloud over me, heavy, bro. Do you get me? So like that's when I realised that like to me, that's when I realised that like there's like a God or a higher power or something, because I decided to like let it all go, and all that got taken away from me like that. Like I'm talking like within like 10 minutes, like my whole body, everything about me just like came back, and I was just like, and then I came back, and then Raz, I can't stop thinking. Like,
it's cool, bro. Do you want a drink, bro?
Honestly.
Do you want a drink?
Nah, it's cool. I just need to.
Yeah, man. No, listen, this is powerful, man. I love this, bro.
Me? So
yeah.
But yeah, like, so when I came back, it's funny because I came back and then just forgot about God. Because I came back and just forgot about everything. I was like, yo, I'm better now. So back on the graph, do you get me?
So, yeah, well, that's do you know what? Before we go on, bro, that's proper courage saying what you just said, bro. Fair play to you.
Even that itself is like admitting it, because when you're like going through that, you know, I can't say that I don't know if we've felt the same emotions in the sense of how far you've been with things and stuff like that. You know, you've been in low places, but like to be able to be open about it, you know, it's brave, bro, because you know, when you're in such a dark place mentally, and you just feel like I said on the first one, you're like bashing your head in all sorts of walls. You don't even know where you are, bro. You're just like, it's so hard to like get out of that place. You just feel like a lost person. Do you get me? It's like,
I just feel like I just want to credit, like my mum and my stepdad, because me and my mum had wars like all my life, but I just feel like telling that story, like I got to credit my mum and my stepdad. Do you get me? Because my mum took me out there, and my stepdad, do you know what I mean, bless him, like he stepped into my life and he had a case to deal with me, like, do you get me? And then he was like teaching me how to drive out there, and do you know what I mean, like just the way that like my mum just saw that I needed help. She stood by me, do you get me? Not that she gave me all the answers or anything, because do you know what I mean, my mum was disabled at the time, like she was suffering, but it's just she just stood there with me, innit? So I don't know, just in case then like my mum ever watches this or something,
Yeah.
like, I just want to credit her for like
Credit, yeah, of course.
her like motherhood. Do you get
They
me?
always got our best interest at heart, even if we don't think it when we're young or
Yeah.
we slate our family. It's one of them things, Phil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I noticed as well when you're younger as well, and this is for like young listeners, when you're a kid, you know, sometimes you get the feeling that your parents hold you back, or you know, your upbringing, how your parents bring you up is so important. And you know, hopefully there's people out there that have good parents. I know there's people out there who don't have good parents, who don't look after them and stuff like that, but it's like, you know, being able to value your parents and just like summon yourself to be grateful towards your parents, like, because they, you know, they do try their best, and you'll never be able to repay them for what they do for you. But it's amazing that, you know, like you, as you've got older and as you've got older, you sort of like realize how important your parents are and like what they do for you. It's such an important
That was
thing.
probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life, is forgive like my dad, really. But like because I know, like, I got friends, yeah, that we all know, mutuals and stuff, that like still warring with their dads to this day. And like my friends, they want to forgive their dads so hard, but it's so hard because it's like, yo, you've like wounded me like from a young age and stuff, like my dad did to me. But like, yeah, it's like if you don't give up, like you get to a place where you can forgive them, whether they're right or wrong. Do you get me? And when you do, it's so liberating to be like, now I can honour you as a parent, even in your mistakes and stuff like that. It's like one of the most releasing things that a child can do in it, growing up, or a son or daughter can do in their life, is to forgive their parents. And then the freedom that comes from that is like exists in a way that we can almost like understand. But yeah, definitely.
Bro, do you know what? You're gonna get me teary up in a minute, bro. I shouldn't. I have to say this anyway. I got to get it off my chest. But
yeah,
obviously, the life I've had the last couple of years has been manic, and I've got a child now, a daughter, and she's 9 years old, and I seen her for the first time. Last week on the weekend for the first time properly. Bro, it was hard. Like I'm amazed I've done it. I'm buzzing about it, but I could just, you know, listening to the way it's affected you and other people. I've always had my parents here, so I can't imagine the situation she went through growing up. And I'm just so grateful for the fact that she's let me in her life again.
Yeah.
And credits to the baby mother as well, who we'd never seen eye to eye, but has actually given me the chance now to see it again. I just want to say thank you, obviously, and bro, that's a big thing, like, bro, man. And
like, and the circumstances that like led you to like have had there's led to that happening, yeah, like the gap where you might not have been in her life and stuff like that. Like you're like on a journey of undoing wrongs.
Yeah.
So it's not like a case of like it's my fault, guilt, shame, condemnation. It's a case of like, yo, my life weren't perfect, and it led me to go through all of this stuff. Do you get me? Made bad decisions, and now I'm on a journey of undoing wrongs. And she'll see the effort and the love and the intention coming back, and then it's going to lead to that cycle of forgiveness, and then you two are going to have a good relationship.
Of course,
forward, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a big step, man. But I thought I had to mention it because I've been dying to say it anyway to people. I wanted to shout it from the rooftops because for years, you know, I was a typical waste man of a dad. And you know, it was never by choice. Well, it was, but you know, I was an addict and I was ill, and I never had time for her. And I didn't want her to see me the way I did. As it might sound like a pathetic excuse, but you know, I'm in her life now, and I'm just glad that you touched over that, like, because I feel like, you know, I can relate deep to that, being in the parents' shoes. But it's good to hear it from your side as well, so I can understand
that's
you.
amazing, bro.
Yo, I think on a trust me.
Who would have thought, you know, me and who would have thought, like from back in the day, you and me back in the day,
I
bro,
know,
just on
bro, it's such a
Ragwood,
good feeling.
now sat publicly
Airing
getting
it out.
emotional about life, like, you know what I mean?
know. Let's make it a bit lighter then, yeah. So obviously, you've come back from Cyprus.
Yeah.
In the public eye then, from like within a year, like especially in Wales UK, you know, you're making moves. So you must have just had a pact with yourself, like, I'm just going to do this now.
Yeah,
obviously.
I was like a, what's the word?
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, that's the one. I was tunnel
Shout out
vision,
Wiley,
bro. Yeah,
tunnel vision.
I was like, no, nothing's like, and I think anyone who was around Astroid Boys on the journey could attest to that. Like, I was just on it. You get me? And then there's obviously like the first couple of years of Astroid Boys, or the first couple of years of like hashing it out, like you said, is like I met Del, yeah, Elliot Duvel. His name's Duvel19 now, but like back then he was like,
shout out Duvel.
His name was Deluxe, innit? Del. But like we met in the youth centre in Newport, and we just clicked, like, and it's something like he's Greek as well, innit? So I don't know if it's a Greek thing, I don't know. But like I just seen him and he was like, I remember we just started catching like jokes straight away, like we had the same humour kind of thing. And then I was like, what are you working on? And then he started playing something and it sounded like a band, but it was production. Like it was heavy, but it was production based. And I was like, bro, and I remember I grabbed the chair and I couldn't pull the chair over fast enough. And then I was just like, this is like what we need to do.
This is
like
the sound.
Yeah, and I was just like I was on Del for like years. Like I was just on his case, being like, bro, like just like feeding him the vision. And then Del was like, no, I'm in. Like I'm in. And like he knew from day one what we needed to do. And then I think like the first song that we made that was like really, really like that was like Minging, I think. And then maybe, yeah, Minging. And
yeah, no, you're right. I was thinking of some other ones.
Yeah, I think it was...
No, I was thinking... This is a funny one, I remember, right? But
I know you're going to... Don't say it, bro.
What?
I know nothing like that. No, listen, I've done some...
One, that one.
Yeah. No, leave it.
That was classic. No, I know what you're saying, but yeah,
no,
okay.
like obviously, like listen, yeah, like being obviously, like I said, when I come back from Cyprus, I was just trying to have a good time now, innit? Like, and I'm like, I wasn't like, I forgot about everything, like deep, God, life, love, parents. I just came back and was just like rags. So where I came back and we were making songs like mad songs, like I make questionable music, bro, like, I mean, no doubt about it, but it was me experimenting, trying to figure out like what's good, you get me? But yeah, nah, like we just, people
just search that up anyway if they...
I took it off.
People don't know.
I took it off.
You have a view.
Yeah.
I wish I was there, man. The video looked funny.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Anyway, we went on, and then we nailed the formula then when we made like Minging, and then we knew it because we made the song, and it was literally like grime and then heavy band like just mixed together, and we were playing shows like all the time anyway because we were just based off, like we were a live group really. We were playing shows all the time.
Yeah.
And then when Minging came out with the video and stuff, I remember we went to play a show in Sheffield. Marcus was there, I think. He came, yeah. We went to a show in Sheffield, and it was like whoa. Like we went on stage, the song dropped, and I was like, whoa. Like people were coming over the barrier, like in the tens. Like I was more like 600 people at the show, and people were just coming over the barrier, like crowd surfing. Everyone was singing the lyrics.
Oh, mate.
But like, I was
imagine
like,
that.
whoa for a second, and then I was just like, I'm in. So I like, and then this is where like I was so excited about what I was doing. I wanted to be like the best performer, so I was like run, jump in the crowd, and then I was like, wow, like that's what one song does. And like I think I might be like I'm not even saying it's the best song ever. It was just something like, all right, that song was just something that was needed at the time. It's not even like the best song ever. It's just at the time there was an alternative scene that was underrepresented.
Set the bar, didn't it?
Yeah.
Set the bar.
Like now we got Slow Tie, and now like there's other alternative artists. But back then, like there wasn't really like a UK alternative group that was really speaking for that ilk of people. So Astroid Boys, all we did was do that.
I think
that's like, it wasn't like anything really genius about it. We just landed
You was lucky
at the right time.
yeah.
Do you get me? That's all it was. Like,
Well, I always looked at it as like you were always, because even when we seen you as a young age, you was always skateboard Phil, or you was that punk type of image I looked at. And then obviously with Benji, you was just, I thought it was just a perfect match. Obviously there was more behind the scenes with your producers, people who play instruments and stuff, but I just thought it was a stroke of genius.
Yeah, because Benji was like incredibly open-minded, and I remember sitting down with Ben. Well, so I'd met Del, as a producer. We'd worked for a bit, and then I met Benji at a house party in Trowbridge.
Random.
And do you know what? Benji was like one of the biggest MCs in Cardiff.
Yeah, shout out Benji.
Yeah, bro. Like back then, he was sending videos, because I was like my first like girlfriend. I was at her house, and Benji was sending her videos on MSN, and I was like, "Who's that? Who's that?" And then it was Benji sending videos on MSN of him freestyling, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, he's quite good, isn't he?" Like I could tell that like Benji had
He'd
it.
been
like,
it from day. I remember Imtech days with Benji.
Yeah.
Like from young.
So at the house party, I was with all my boys, and then Benji got brought to the party by one boy to the party. So like obviously Benji knew people, but he was like, he weren't part of the crew at the time. Like we had quite a big group of people that used to like hang out every day at this flat. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And I'm talking, there was like sometimes it was like 30 of us in the flat, like with a little amp, just all spitting bars back to back. But like back then, girls like grime. Like now, like it got to a point where girls were just like grime's just too like aggressive and that. But back then, I swear the girls like grime harder than the boys. Like, so we were all there spitting. Benji turns up, and the video's still on YouTube. Yeah, where like me and Benji are going back to back, and you can tell we're like slyly warring each other.
Okay.
And then Benji's spitting bars like, and then I'm like, what are you talking about? Just shut your mouth. And then he's saying things back to me. It's like indirects back and forth. And then after, I was like, yeah, maybe we should team up, innit? Do you get me? So then obviously, after that party, we started talking, teamed up. But Benji didn't know anything about rock music. Like,
very open-minded. Then he embraced it all.
I sat him down and I was like, watch this, like on YouTube. Played him like everything, even going back like the subgenres of metal, like going to him like, yo, this is Slipknot, I don't really listen to that, but that's that. This is Limp Bizkit, this is punk, this is, and then Benji just took it all in, and then he was like, let's get it, let's go out and do it then. Do you know what I mean? Like he was just in straight away. So it's just, and like, he adapted
well to it as well, you know.
Yeah, he
some of the videos and stuff I've seen, like proper in the element with it.
Bro, towards the end, when we were signed to Sony, he was like trying to do more rock, and I was like trying to be like, yo, chill, bro. Like, wow. And he's like, nah, bro, like rock's that. Like he like soaked it up. Do you get me? But yeah, like it snowballed then. Do you know what I mean? The right members came at the right time. Like our drummer Harry just come out of like the woodworks. I don't even know how he came to the band, but he just came to the band, and like the best drummer you could ever imagine for that band, the nicest person, and just a perfect energy. And then Rich, the DJ, was like almost like the silent uncle, like a father figure, but he never like told people what to do. He just slotted in perfect. Do you know what I mean? Benji, Del. And then our guitarist was always like interchangeable. We always had different guitarists and stuff, but like those members.
So, you know, I've seen a couple of, over the years, things you've done. So you've done crib sessions. I've seen your Westwood crib sessions. I've seen you on Rinse. You're touring. You've done UK, Europe. What was Europe like?
It was different because it's like hard to say Europe in one sentence. It's a big place, isn't it? But like obviously German live shows are something else because, you know, they support music, they turn up, they buy your merch, they buy your music, they buy your vinyl, they learn your songs, they learn your lyrics, and when you turn up, they know your name, and it's like, wow, like
that's mad,
old school, like but solid. And then some of the other places like Poland is just like party central. Like we would play shows in Poland, and like we'd stop the song and they wouldn't stop. They were just like, hey, like thousands of people, and you're just like, wow, you can't control these people. Like,
bringing it back before that, because you mentioned Sony.
Yeah.
So, obviously Astroid Boys came together, started to form this like team. So, you know, obviously you've probably got a few big egos at the time, all trying to like, you know, like form this thing, be creative and all that, and it was a new sub-genre of music and this and that. How did the situation where you managed, like, how did you end up coming to get signed to a record label? Like, Sony's obviously one of the, probably is the biggest record label in the world, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely up there. How did that happen? Like, and then obviously lead on to the shows then, like, what was that, you know?
I would say, I'm like I have like a theory behind everything, and I find that's my easiest way to explain. So, sorry if it's a bit long, but
run away with it.
I just feel like the music industry before was like the corporate companies, like labels, would wow artists, and artists always wanted to be a part of corporate labels. And like I think over the past 6 years, that changed. The power dynamic shifted, where now artists are like, you need us, kind of thing. So like we'll make the bangers and sell the records and make the videos or whatever, get the streams, and then labels like fight to sign artists. But that wasn't the case when like Astroid Boys got signed. But because I was into punk, and I was like, I wanted to do things the punk way, I was thinking like that then. So I was thinking, let's make Astroid Boys so undeniable that like it's inevitable that someone's going to sign us. Or it's inevitable that someone's going to put us on. That's what my mindset was. I was like, we got the power, and how can I prove that, like leverage the fact that we got the power? Got to sell tickets. Because how do you make money? Like, this is where my brain was thinking. I was like, how are we going to make money? Sell merch, sell tickets. And like, to be honest, I was more time trying to put our music out for free, but we didn't. We did put it out, but we were trying to put it out for free sometimes, because we were like, let's just sell merch and tickets. Like, the labels are going to see the numbers and they're going to want us. And that's exactly what we did. We sold out shows. Like I was explaining to Colin, like when you tour, there's like A towns, B towns and C towns. Obviously, you know, like A towns are like Birmingham, Manchester, and whatever. B towns are like the smaller ones, C towns are the smaller ones. And we did like them all. We did the E towns, the Z towns.
That's
like
difference.
We went to sheds. We performed in people's farms in their back garden. Like, I'm not even joking. We actually performed off the back of a haystack, off the back of a lorry with like all haystacks and that at a farm in the middle of nowhere. Like,
something off Mad Max,
yeah, bro. We were in the weirdest like places, but all these venues, the pubs. Like, we earned our dues. Like at the circuit, we just went up the ranks and sold more and more tickets. We just got a reputation for being like, yo, Astroid Boys are playing. You should probably go and watch them, because, you know, even if I'm not really a big fan of the music, I'm a fan of the show.
Turned up like,
yeah. And I think that just escalated. And I think we played some certain festivals and had like massive responses. And I think from that, it just snowballed. And then the label, like, I mean, our label, I don't know how they found us, to be honest with you. But it's like, it was only a matter of time, because, like, you know, selling out shows like back to back, like around the country and Europe, unsigned. Do you know what I mean?
Off your own back, like all your own marketing, your own branding, how you set it up.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, there's going to be artists watching this and other creatives, and like, this is when the power of branding and marketing comes into things that people completely overlook. Yeah. They think that just because they make a sick product, that's just going to sell.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I'm just going to put this out there, it's going to go. It's the same as this. We have to market it, we have to get coverage, we have to do the little small things to be able to snowball the
people
thing.
Think they
so
can just...
that's an important topic to discuss.
Yeah, it's funny, because I think now branding is so intellectualized. Like, sometimes like companies have like 5 meetings to talk about
how it's going to look.
Basic things, to do with branding. But I don't know why we were so good at it. But like, I weren't thinking, like, I didn't study it. I just had a pen and a paper, and I'll draw pictures of what I wanted it to look like and write little steps on how to get there. Like, I remember watching Tiny Temper perform a V Festival, and it was an absolute, like, shout out Tiny Temper, yeah? Like, obviously he had Wifey Rhythm and that back in the day.
Yes, come on.
But he was at a point where he was, like, begging the mosh pit thing. And I remember him being on stage, like, almost forcing the crowd to mosh pit, like, on the mic, being like, yo, like, you know, because he wanted that
He
thing.
had the drum and bass with his...
Yeah.
At the end of every song, he'd do like a D&B transition.
Yeah,
And,
I think this was even just before that, like
Okay.
before Frisky and them tunes there. But like I remember watching it and just being like, nah, like we do this. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, no, we actually do this, like from the underground, like around the world. Like we're playing shows and this is happening without us even asking. And then I wrote in my piece of paper like, we're gonna introduce like this world to this world and this world to this world, basically. Like that kind of branding. We just did that with our merch and everything. Like,
and did that mirror in the crowds as well? Could you see like walks of
Yeah.
life, different walks of life in the crowd?
yeah, 100%. Like I don't know if it's something to do with like my generation or something. Like you know, in school, like I don't know what it is like now, to be honest. But when we were when I was in school, you had like the moshers. Do you get me? You had like the
Pretty boys,
boys,
casuals.
the football. Like there was like groups of people. But then in my school, it's like all of those groups of people went to the same house parties. So I don't know. I don't know why, but I
Very
always
open.
felt like that was the way. So then yeah, it shows, bro. Like you'd have skateboarders turning up. You have boys coming from like different areas of the city, like probably like rich kids and poor kids, like all coming to the same show. Do you know what I mean? Black, white, different, whatever, all coming together. And then we mixed our lineups all the time. Like there's certain artists that are around now that like Nath Smalls. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Like he's like a
Luton.
big like guy now, but like he used to tour with us, like, and come on stage and like his first ever like stage dive was like an Astroid Boys show kind of thing. We used to like mix lineups, so the kids would come and be like the rockers would get introduced to Grime, and the Grime heads would get introduced to rock or whatever. I don't know, but it worked anyway. Like maybe it was just like maybe it was like a strike lucky, and then I'm just trying to act like it was a stroke of genius, or maybe it's the other way around. To be honest, I don't even know. But all I know is it worked,
Yeah.
and it took off. Do you get me? So.
When you say it took off, because I remember what did you ask him just then? What questions did you just ask? Like, what was the maddest thing you ever seen and
Yeah.
stuff like that? Like, was there a day where you just sat there, like maybe it was at a show and a mad moment at a show or a mad situation, and you just thought, oh my god, what have we actually created?
Yeah, bro. There was times where I was like, it's gone too far. Yeah, definitely. There
Do
was
you want to
some
elaborate on that as well? Like, what you think?
Yeah, like just talking like the passion that people had for some of our songs. Like I know this is gonna sound like, I don't want us to sound like the wrong way, yeah. But it is like that. The passion that people had for some of our songs was like a bit like, whoa, like I loved it and I was like, yeah, come on. But then it was sometimes like the mad shows were so mad, like there was literally like bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies, like on top of each other, like all in like stage diving and stuff. And like we would play one song, and within one song, like the speaker stack's falling over, the monitor wires have been ripped apart, the mic wire's been ripped over there, the guitar amps kicked over, the drum kit's falling back, and we're just like, we've just played one song and the whole room's just exploded into this frenzy, and then now we're trying to like rewire the stage to carry on the show. Like
What's the
That's
biggest?
like it was like I'm trying to explain it.
That
Like
is mad,
it's
isn't
hard
it?
to explain what it was like, but the buzz, yeah. Like when you on a run like that, you feel the buzz. Like we would go into shows and there was queues like hours before the show, and then like the buzz like leading up to the shows and stuff. Like I feel like I wish I had someone next to me that could like try and
Bounce
explain
off.
it better than me, but like to bounce off. Yeah, like I know Marcus is like, he's behind the camera, but Marcus was at a lot of them early shows, and I think Marcus saw like you probably saw the tipping point in it when it like started to, because like we were, listen, I'll just be real, Astroid Boys was crap for years. I literally, like, let's be really honest, and like I consider myself like an actual artist now, like a tastemaker of music. I can look back and I can honestly say we blagged it for time. You get me? Like,
It was a big blag.
we blagged it, yeah, we blagged it. And I know that because like Captain, who's like works for Boomtown Festival now, is like a top tastemaker. I remember sitting in the car with him, going to a festival in the Isle of Wight and saying, what do you think about Astroid Boys? Like, really though? And he was like, you're blagging it. And he told me straight. And at the time I was like, blagging it. I was like, nah, bro. I was like, we're the realists. Like, I was fully like, thought like we were like, but we were blagging it. So, like, we made a lot of bad music. We played a lot of terrible shows where, like, sonically, it's like, what the heck am I listening to? We used to just go on stage and scream Astroid Boys in people's faces for like 10 minutes, like over loud music. Like, it was a mess. But it eventually found this feat with music. So, like, the tipping point came when we actually started making good music. Do you get me?
I gotta say, you've got some big songs out there. Foreigners.
Yeah, like
you know,
it got there in the end. Like, it got there in the end. Like, do you know what I mean? We could always spit, like I could always spit and stuff, but you had to find our feet. So when people watch like that, some people saw Astroid Boys at the wrong time, and then that's when they're like, oh, I've heard of Astroid Boys, and I'm like, oh, like, what have you heard?
Yeah.
Do you get me? And they're like, oh, like, I've seen Dirt, for example. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good song. And sometimes they're like, oh, I've seen Welcome to the Zoo, like, back in the day, and I'm like, oh, like, erase from your memory, do you get me, please?
Finding yourself, though, you know?
But yeah, we just finding ourselves, yeah. But I think just before the record label was probably like the rawest time. Like, unsigned, no one was looking after us. Like, managers were just getting fired. Well, we were just firing managers like every month.
Sorry. So how was you, like, because obviously, like, when you obviously knew you're fully committed to this music at this time, how was you funding yourselves before you were signed? Like, how was you going your day to day? You know.
Yeah.
It's hard. Obviously.
So, like, obviously the beginning was just a hustle. So, like, I went into like my savings. Like, I had like these like life savings from like my nan when she died or whatever. There's only like $1,000 or something in there. So like little now, but like back then it was like $1,000. Do you get me? And like I remember just like forging a signature, withdrawing it from the account, and then going to spend it on like a music video and CDs. And then I was selling the CDs.
All self-money then.
Yeah, and then it just like snowballed them, and like playing a few shows, like bringing a couple £100 here and there, and then money from the CDs pay for the next music video. And like how I actually survived in the context of like eating food and whatever, like I was sponging, do you get me?
Just come to you, like,
yeah, I was just sponging, like, do you know what I mean? Whoever would have me round for tea, and like I was just trying to get by, because I was just like, as long as we're progressing in music, like I'm alright, do you know what I mean? But then as time went on, we just like perfect little miracles that just came along. Like, we did like a commercial for Gift Gaff, like back then, and they paid us like a few grand, and then we were like, right, that's the money to release the EP. And then we did something else, and then obviously the shows were bringing in money and the merch was bringing in money just to fund the group, do you get me?
Yeah.
But like everything we earned just went straight back in, like standard business, but we didn't think of it like that. We were just putting the money straight back into studio time, and
self-made tastes better.
Yeah, like
it's so peak as well, because like Cullen was saying to me, we were having this conversation earlier, and like people say that, you know, because like if you're from a nice area, or like we were talking about your start and that, innit? And like it's like when you actually fund everything yourself, like I know how it feels. It feels so much better as well.
Yeah.
Well, we were saying
you're all in.
We were saying as well. And this is a good point we need to really get out there, I think, because when you said earlier about when some people will say about Phil and Astroid Boys, and they would say, oh, he's from Lanishan, this, you know.
Yeah,
can you elaborate on that, and then we'll go into it, you know?
Like, yeah, I guess the perception was probably like, because I was in like Lanishan High, and they're like, Lanishan's got like a lot of wealth. It's like half, innit? Lanishan
You've got
High.
The crystals in Lanishan.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Nice. It's like half. You had like half of the school was from the council estate, and half the school was from like Lisbon and that, or whatever. So like people used to be like, they only made it because they had money, or they only made it because like someone paid their way or something. But like that was never the case. Do you get me?
No,
that was never the case. But yeah, like that was just like, I know like people look for a way to like discredit success if they're not happy about it. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
But like obviously we weren't like I mean, I was homeless for a bit, but we weren't like all homeless and that. Do you know what I mean? We all were chucking little cash in whenever we had it, but that was just like
you know,
standard. Yeah.
If you have got the money given to you, who's, you know, it's what you do with it anyway.
Yeah,
you put that work rate in at the end of the day, whether you had money or not. There's people out there who got loads of money who say, "Oh, I want to be a musician," and they just don't do nothing
You're
with
just
it.
chucking it. You know,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you know, so
cream always rises to the top at the end of the day. Like, it's 100%. And do you know what? Like, even myself, like, every single penny that I've put into Sage, I've earned that myself. Do you get me? And I can say that on God. Do you know what I mean? And there's people out there I know who say, you know, he's had this, he's had that. Look, I was fortunate to have the front room of my parents' house. That's that's definitely a blessing and the support of my parents. But like, let me set the record straight. Like, Nick, you know as well. Every penny was mine.
Yeah, I would say
penny.
that it's more
And, you know,
about the mentality that you're
all
raised
in,
with,
bro.
because people that don't come from money, like my family didn't come from, like me, mum and my sister were sleeping in a 1-bedroom thing when we were younger, like that type of story for a bit. And that's like, when you don't come from money, you have a poverty mentality. That's hard to make money from.
yeah.
When you've got a poverty mentality, you don't see money, you don't think about money, you don't understand money as a tool. You don't think like, or then when you do try and get money, it's like a force and a desperation. Poverty mentality is a trap. Do you get me? And I think like that's the difference, because when you come from a background where, say, your parents are alright, it's like, it's a blessing. Like, don't get it twisted. This is a blessing. It's not a negative thing. People think like coming from the mud is a blessing, and it can be, but it's also a blessing to have parents that help you. Do you get me? And I'm just saying that, like, when parents train you, raise you not to have a poverty mindset, that is like the true gem. Do you get me? That's like the true thing that can help you make money. Because I had to relearn how to see money, like, as I got older. Do you know what I mean?
It's just being all in. It's just being completely all in and just believing in what you do. It's like, do you know what I mean? You have the feeling of like, if I don't work for this, and if I don't put everything into it, money, finances, vision, focus, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah.
So it's not like, that's exactly what my mindset is now, and yours is with your thing. It's the same. Like, you have to be 100 million. It has to be an extension of you.
Yeah. That is a mentality of people that definitely get somewhere. 100%. Can I take my jacket off?
Of course you can, right?
Make yourself at home.
What do you think, Luke?
Yeah.
What about you? Because obviously we've had conversations, me and you as well, about, you know, having it hard sometimes growing up and. Like,
bro, what you were saying is exactly right. It's all about your mentality, because you know, even if it is given to you, you could fluff it away anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it is definitely about the mentality. It's not about what's given to you. It's about what's inside. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay then, so you're doing all this touring. You're really successful. You're having adverts. You know, you're in Europe. You're in UK. You're performing at, you know, your crib sessions and stuff. What was the pinnacle, would you say, the highest you was with Astroid Boys, where you kind of thought, we can't go any higher, or we can't go any further, or, you know, was there a time like that?
Nah, I don't think so. I feel like Astroid Boys, when it ended, was on like a tipping point. I think if we had carried on for another like 2 years, then it would have
Turned toxic?
No, it would have got big.
Okay.
I don't think we ever got to like this. Like, Astroid Boys was bigger for the people who knew about Astroid Boys than it was.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, on paper, do you know what I mean? So like, it wasn't actually, like, I just thought, if we carry on, it's going to blow. Like, it's going to go over the edge. Like, we were selling out, like, academies on our final tour and stuff, like, you know, like 1,000 cap venues kind of thing, like, as a headline act and that. And that's like a good place to achieve. And we were like, you know, it's not like, you know, we were getting views on our videos, like, you know,
big numbers
and stuff. Like, obviously the internet's different now. Like, I think views are higher now. More people use social media and YouTube and stuff now than back then. But yeah, it was still good numbers. But yeah, I don't think we were on the verge. Do you get me? But it ended then. Do you know what I mean? So
I want to get onto that, but just before we do, like, I just like the Reading Festival.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say
I
moment. That's the moment, really.
Because
That
I've
was the moment.
seen a post about it as well by, is it the
Enemy magazine,
Mag?
yeah.
And you was awarded, well, you was...
Well, they just said in the magazine it was like the best festival performance of that year.
Talk us through that. Like what was it like before you went on stage? How was you feeling?
So like it's that like because we played Reading twice, right? We played it twice, Reading and Leeds Festival twice. The first time we played it is when we won that award. Well, not won that award. It's not an award. They just
they said, listen, you turned it the fuck up.
Yeah, like, and that was the first time I was like, okay, this is like another level, because I saw Reading Festival as like big festival. I thought no one's really gonna matter. We were on a one extra stage and we were on like first or second. So we were on first at like midday on the first day of Reading Festival.
What was the weather like?
It was like sunny.
Paint a picture for me, man.
I want to feel TRAXX for like 2 minutes. Like, what does it look like? Feel like, what's the, you step out and...
Because you are hype on the stage.
Right, there was no one there, right? We were sound checking and there was no one there in like a five grand tent capacity. There was no one there. So I'm there like looking at the boys and I'm thinking, it's one of those... We're going to have to play a really good show, because Sony had paid for cameras to film our show in there. Like at that show, they wanted to capture it. It's like all on YouTube now. So I was like, we're just going to have to put on a good show, boys. Like, it's the same as any other show we've ever played. We're just going to have to go in like that. So I went back into the dressing room, into the box thing. And I'm just sat there like that, just like waiting to play the show. And then it was Del come running in, open the door, and he was like, "You been out there, mind?" And I was like, "Nah." And he was like, "Bro, it's rammed." And I was like, I remember being like, "Is it like rammed?" Because Del don't gas. Del's someone who don't gas.
There's a couple Android.
No, Del's like, if he says something's rammed, like it's rammed. And I was like, "What, like rammed?" And he was like, "Bro, like rammed." And I was like, "Since when? I was out there 5 minutes ago." He was like, "Bro, they must have just woke up from the tents or something, but it's rammed." And then I was like, "Oh, maybe it's just because we're the first act, like they just want to go to something." I was still playing it down. I went out, looked up round the corner of the tent, and I was like, "Oh, it is Ram." And I recognised everyone in the crowd. Like,
what?
There was bare heads there. I don't know what numbers, but it was like over 1,000. Like, there was heads there. And I looked, and I was like, I recognised everyone from all the shows we had played around the country. And I was like, I know him. That's like little Harry, and that's like Zion, and that's like... I even remember their names now, like the little...
You're going to be singing your songs, and
do you get me? What?
So you knew, like, these guys know my songs.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
was like, this is on
people.
now, yeah. So then I started pumping myself up, and I was like, okay, this is the one. We're going to go out and we're going to give it levels now. And then we went out, gave it, like, a beastly performance, like, all jumping in the crowd. We've done this stuff, like, before. It wasn't like it wasn't actually, like, a special performance. It was just the crowd energy and seeing kids from all the towns around UK all in one place. I was like, oh, okay, levels. And I remember there was people watching our set. I was like looking side stage and seeing like Semtex and I was like on the one extra stage as well. So I was like, yeah, they're seeing this, like they're seeing our culture, like the culture that we created.
It's not just going into studio to spit on their show. They're seeing the elements you're in. They're seeing the fans who feel you.
But their second time was better, and that second show was probably the best show I've ever played in my life. Personally, we've played madder shows,
have your reasons,
and bigger
obviously.
shows, but this show was for me because I was like, I know what's going to happen now. So I was like, this is a big show. So like we were like, yes, let's all wear white. Let's we were thinking of things like to make the show better. Like, and then backstage, like all my friends, like everyone turned up, like Manga and all of his lot came, and like I just met my missus. And that was like the first show she'd ever seen us play. Like,
she must have thought you was a legend.
Nah, she probably thought I was a dickhead, to be honest. Like, who's this guy? Like, think he is. But like, everyone was backstage, and it was like mob, and the sun was out, and I was feeling like, yes, like this is the one. Like this is what I worked for, is to play these shows at festivals like this. And then I knew what it was. Like I was at the bottom of the ramp, like to walk up to the stage. and I would never be close to the stage when the show would start. I always wanted to pace to the stage. I don't know why, it's like from my head. So I stayed by the dressing room, and then I heard the intro play or whatever of our set.
No anxiety,
And they're like,
nothing.
Nah, like I never really had that. I don't know. I never had nerves like that, really. And I don't know if it's because you get numb. I think I numbed.
When you're doing it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ran up the ramp to the show. Everyone was walking up. Ran up, went out on stage, and I was like, and the lights went off. The tent was rammed, and it was like start to finish, like utter chaos, like but good chaos. Like everyone was singing, and I remember like there was like a last song or whatever. Like I was in the crowd, like went into the crowd, and we were just all jumping together to like the last song, like hundreds of us. Do you get me? And it was just one of them shows where like I come off stage and I was like, I could die now, like. Not really, but like
no, you've
like as a figure of speech,
Yeah,
like I
Just
could
felt
die
like you
now.
completed it.
Yeah, I was like, for me, I was like, yeah, that was a dream. Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
So, sorry, did you want to elaborate on that? Or?
So like going from there, then like obviously, you know, you've done Reading, you know, you completed it, rammed out tents. What was the turning point where, like, Astroid Boys, like, you know, basically I want you to, like, explain about, like, how Astroid Boys, like, what happened, where it, because obviously it disbanded. Obviously, that's like a weird disbanded,
Yeah.
like, stopped in it, and, like, you know, and then
Obviously, it's
you
still
went
running,
solo
innit?
then, do you know what I mean? So, like, what was that all about?
Me, I think. Like, I don't think anyone could be blamed for it ending other than me. But like, I think I just, like I said, when I came back from Cyprus, we're going back now. Like, I came back from Cyprus and I had all of that stuff. I just ignored, like, life, love, God, family, and I just suppressed a lot of stuff and then did Astroid Boys. And then when I got to that point where I was getting everything that I worked for, that was when I just had like a rude awakening and just realised like I need to go home. Like I need to stop. I've been doing this for so long.
You said you met your partner as well. Was that a part of it maybe? Or
Nah,
like
I don't think so. I think people would say that it was, but I don't think it was.
Okay.
Was it like a thing where like, was it a thing like so? You'd achieved all of that, you'd done all those things, met all those people, sold all those tickets, things were just going mad. Was it like, because obviously, you know, throughout that, were you still, like throughout all that time, was your mental health still going? Like, was it a point where you just couldn't take it no more? Or like where was your mind at? Were you still struggling? Like, what was...
It was more suppressed because I was struggling, but when you like suppress things and plow on, it's like, it was like that. So I'll get like very like I just wasn't a cool person to be around, do you get me? I was just like on a mission and I was never satisfied, do you get me? I wasn't a cool person to be around, like, not like, you know, like, I just had a lot of problems in my gut that I was carrying, I was just holding down, and I was like, I can't let this out while I'm doing this, I need to go and be in a safe place.
What was that doing to you mentally?
I wasn't even thinking about it. Like I was just like, I was still tunnel visioned and I was still like, I know what I need to do. But I'd say like the last year of Astroid Boys, like I told Del that I was going to leave Astroid Boys after a show, like a year before I did. And I was like, bro, I'm going to leave. And Del was like, is it? And I was like, yeah, man. Like, I can feel it. And I went to Cyprus with like Mace and Deadly and that, like, and but I was staying in like where my uncle lives and they were all in Napa, so every night I was like going back to by myself in the night, and like the same place where I had that original encounter, like in Cyprus.
Yeah. Come round, is it? Or?
It did a full circle. I was back in that place like 7 years later. I don't know if you know about like numerology and stuff, but like 7 is like completion.
Yeah.
It's like 7 years later I was like back in that place, and then in that moment I just thought
it was telling you
I
something.
have to leave in order to save myself, because I'm gonna end up turn into something I don't want to turn to. I'm losing myself. Don't know who I am. And I was fighting so hard to hold on. And I was probably wrestling with like managers and labels like all the time, because really I was wrestling with myself to get me being like, yo, like I was controlling the band as well. Like I wasn't letting the band just like be free like it was when it started. I was like I was just obsessed with it, and I was like, nah, like I know what needs to happen. I was just like, bad traits, bro. Like, do you get me? And the boys in the band know, like the boys in the band, like we got love for each other, and they had their problems, and do you know what I mean? But they know with me, they were like, bro, we all know what you were like. We all loved you, but it was tough, like, do you know what I mean? So obviously, yeah, like from that moment, I went back, told Del, and then throughout the year, that's when I started to slowly find my feet again, and find, like, I definitely had like a massive paradigm shift where I started to believe in God heavily, which was quite like intense, because if I want to believe in something, so I got a theory behind everything, is that if I'm going to believe something, I got to understand it, and I got to know why. I got to know the whys, do you get me? So I just gone heavy into like believing in God, praying, like read the Bible like front to back, like on tour, like 4 times probably, and then surrounded myself with people from like the Rastafarian community and like a church community. So I was just learning about like ancient like perspective of scripture, yeah, like was around really intelligent people, to be honest. Like I was probably blessed to have had certain people come into my life and teach me real meanings of things, you know, like even just down to like the language of God, of the English language, teaching me like God isn't nothing. God is just a word, a descriptive word. Who is God, and things like that. And I'm a philosophical thinker anyway, so I was like deep in it. Yeah.
Philosophical. That's
so,
a bar.
Yeah.
I'd stuck it in one by one.
You're rapping philosophical.
But like that just went on for a year, and then as it went on, I realised I needed to leave to sort myself out. And then I said to the boys, I begged and pleaded, can we take a year off, like 2 years off? But no one was on it because everyone had quit their jobs. Everyone was like committed to the band, and it wasn't fair for me to ask them to take a year off, really. I was like asking them hard, like, please, can we just take a year off and I'll come back? And the label wanted to sign us for the second album, and the management were like, what do you need, like, you know, like to stay?
It's a
like,
tough one, isn't it?
And I like was getting offers from like random phone calls from people like just like offering me things like to stay, and then like,
what's the biggest offer they gave you?
Oh, I don't want to say, man.
No, that's fair, man.
But it was just like I was.
Nice try, Tom.
I don't want to say, but like, like when you're like in like that, like you get phone calls and offers, and people try to buy you for things, like persuade you for things and manipulate you for things, and like I wasn't having any of it at that time, and it could have only have been the right thing to do, because I don't know how I had the power to say no to so much. Like I said no to like things I'd always dreamed of, but I was just saying no to it because I knew I had to save myself. And not just myself, I'll be like, boys probably don't believe me, but I was considering them as well heavily, because I was thinking, yo, like Harry's going through certain stuff which I won't like talk on, and other people were going through certain things, and I was thinking, you know, I think Benji just had his baby or was pregnant or something, and I was thinking, we need a year off. Like we need time off. It was falling apart as well. We all, like, none of us were talking to each other. We were just playing shows and then walking off stage and ignoring each other. Do you know what I mean?
Not the same as
like
I went into it.
Yeah, I was sabotaging shows. I wasn't thinking back. I was an ass, man. Like I was going on stages because the label were making me do tours I didn't want to do. Like I was saying to the label, I'm not going on this tour. I do not want to go on this tour. I need to go home. I need to go home and work to pay for bills because we'd spent our advance. We've run out of money, and the label are like, you got to do this tour, you got to do that tour, promising us money. But really, there was like, we weren't getting paid. Yeah. I was going home. I was going to lose. Like I couldn't pay for things. Do you know what I mean? Like and the label were like, if you don't do the tour, like we're going to drop you, kind of thing. And like. So I was doing tours, but then I was sabotaging the tours. I was going on stage and I was like not performing. I was going on stage and just staring at the crowd for like 10 minutes and like sabotaging it bad, like. And the boys in the band hated me for it. The boys in the band were like, bro, you need to stop doing that. And then I was just like, I don't care anymore. Like, I just need to go home. Like I was crying for help, really. Like, I needed to get out because my brain was going, like, and I was like, I need to go home.
Was it just like it was like adrenaline doing a thing, coming back, you weren't even like interested in doing those mad stuff anymore? You just wanted to be a chilling guy who just made like more soulful music? Is that what it was?
Yeah, like I just got deeper as a person, so my music changed.
Your values changed?
Well, my values changed. Like I was a different person. Like I was. Yeah. But I'll say this, right? I read a book on a guy called Dr. Daniel Amen, he's a neurologist. He talks about how things affect your brain, damage your brain, whether it be drugs or music or whatever. And one of the most damaging things that can happen to your brain is being a performer on stages. More so than like a boxer or even sometimes drugs.
Drugs.
Because sometimes when you're an athlete, or say you're a boxer, you're not boxing every night. Or if you're an athlete, it's not often that you're playing every night. But as a performer, every night your brain's getting overloaded with
dopamine and that.
Dopamine. So your dopamine's flooding your brain, and what it does is it wears out your pleasure centers in your brain until you become numb. What? And you are actually depressed, and your brain recalibrates naturally. You know, when you go on holiday and you come back, you get the holiday blues.
Yeah,
that's your brain just being like, you know, you can't stay up all the time, so we've got to, like, you know, your brain has to recalibrate, and that's why, like, you know, drugs will do the same thing to your brain. But I read that and learned about that. So then when I left the band, I was like, I was numb. Like, I mean, I was numb, bro. Like, I didn't feel anything, couldn't cry, I was depressed, like I was fully like, I was just like, and my missus used to be like, what happened? Because she used to come on tour with us towards the end, all the time. She saw what I was like happy playing shows, and then she saw certain things, and then she was like, what happened to you? Like, I don't know who you are anymore. And I was just like, neither do I. Safe, bro. It's like my brain's like damaged. Yeah. So I had to go on a journey of like
self-discovery,
healing your brain. So like a dopamine fast. So I don't know if you know anything about that, but like,
do you know what's amazing? Yeah, like you mentioned like a dopamine fast, because there's going to be people listening to this, who suffer with mental health. You know, this is what we're aiming for. We want to be a voice for adversity. And do you know what? Like I said on the first episode, we talked about like, if you haven't got the right sleeping pattern, the right diet, the right, if you're feeding your mind with the right things, you're not really giving yourself a fighting chance. And part of that is a dopamine fast. Like, you know, like delaying gratification is the thing. Like if you do that over a long, extensive period of time, like it took us 5 months to set this up, we felt nothing. But then that first episode hit so well, and we felt, you know, that was a great feeling, that was rewarding. But like, it's like being able to delay gratification and delay dopamine and like learning that you don't have to just like getting that quick fix isn't always the answer, basically.
Yeah, if we can't be still, it's normally an indication that we're not at peace. So if we're forcing, we're not flowing. Like if we're striving, we're like, you know, if we're chasing, if it's coming from a place that's not healthy, it's normally those types of things.
Yeah.
And then we chase highs for distraction, or we chase highs to avoid the stillness. Because when you can sit still and then be at peace, and then that's when we do things better and our brain works better and we're more intentional and stuff. Obviously, that how you get there is a separate conversation. That's like, it's not easy to get there, but that's what we aim for. Do you know what I mean? But,
so
yeah,
it's, you know, obviously, you know, for the kids out there as well who are into music and are like, obviously, is there anything you would like to say for people who want to sign to record labels or just in general in the music?
You want to make it, like, do you get me?
Yeah, I'll just disclaimer, I have nothing against major record labels. Just because I didn't have the best experience, I don't have anything against record labels. record labels can be benefit, especially now because I studied like music industry mechanics. I understand the role of a record label, and they can be utilised well.
Yeah.
I just didn't have a good experience because we weren't a band that suited a label. That's it. That's the clash. That's all it was. But yeah, like there's nothing against record labels. They're not the be all and end all of your success, 100%. I think to say to other musicians on a practical scale, go and study the music industry. Because, you know, if you're going into business, you need to know about business. If you're going into marketing, you need to know about marketing. Musicians or artists or MCs or whatever, they make a song and they might make the best song ever, but they don't understand how the industry works, so they don't know how to they don't know how to go to the next level. Just read up about the music industry. Is study about how distribution works, licensing, sync, and you potentially, or you're more likely to have a career. There's space for everyone.
Even something as small, like what you're saying about marketing and branding, even something as small as like changing something about your look, changing something about your image, changing something about even your logo, like even little small, you know, the structure to your videos and like how you plan those and like your budgets. And
but it's hard to expect a kid who's an MC to know about branding, marketing, licensing, sync, PRS, PPL, like, you know, like Vivo. Like, how is a kid supposed to know about all that stuff? Even like man like Mace and like certain peers and stuff. It's like, how is he supposed to know all this stuff? He has to go and, like, obviously a manager can sometimes take that role, but the best thing is as an artist to go and learn about it. But I would say that. And as for like protecting yourself as an artist, I think creatively, if you're an artist or creative, like look inward before outward is like the shortest way to explain it. But like
Find you.
Yeah, like find yourself. Let it take long. There's no rush. Sometimes people think like, I just got to get a song out, or like rapping's a young man's game or whatever. It can be, but at the same time, if you're gonna make better music when you know who you are, the music will do the talking. Like, do you know what I mean? Read some books, write a journal, figure out what you think about life, and then put it into songs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've got like a flip side, because that's one perspective, but the other perspective is the pure energy of ignorance is incredible. And when someone just jumps in the studio and they're like, ra, pop, ta, da, 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 and you hear that and you're just like, that's raw energy.
Yeah.
And so like, it's not like a rule over thumb, but that's what my advice would be. Do you know what I mean?
It seems like we've just like literally just touched over one chapter in your life, and there's still obviously you've got some stuff in your life. No, listen, we're obviously
Where are you now, basically?
So obviously you got XL Life, you're doing your stuff now, you're doing a few solo stuff as well. And we had a conversation earlier, you said you're helping other kids with studio time, you're being referred by people who want to know about the music, so you're obviously leading the way. I'd love to have you on again to talk about that, but if you could just breeze over what you're doing to let people know.
I just took 2 years off music, like when I left Astroid Boys, to work on myself, got married, and then sorted out loads of personal things in my life, family stuff, whatever. And then after the 2 years, and I knew this was what I was supposed to do. It was like, I knew this is what I was supposed to do, is to take 2 years out and then go back in for another 7 years. And it's so I took 2 years out and then I'm going back in now. So I've started the role because I've started the process because like I've nearly finished like my solo album, and I'm in a punk band as well. So if you think Astroid Boys was two genres, I broke them apart and done two purist projects.
Yeah.
Purist punk projects.
You as a grime MC, is it? And
yeah, even though my album's I haven't got any grime on it. But me as a
UK
artist,
yeah.
And then me as the two purest things that were in Astroid Boys. Just done it myself. So I'm in a new band called XL Life. Stars aligned, great members, writing like good music, album sounding incredible. Like signed to like an indie label to put stuff out this year. That's like exciting, and it's really fun and fluid, and it doesn't take a lot of it's no stress or anything. It's just really easy to do. The boys are great. And then me as a solo artist, I'm just like on a home run now to finish my album. But
any expectations of when that'll be coming out for people to know, or
potentially both of them could come out this year
Okay.
if I keep working at the rate I'm working at. Obviously, I'm balancing finance and that, but like if I can finish it, then yeah, like this year, I reckon.
nice?
But my solo album that I've been working on is like undoubtedly like the best music I've ever made in my life.
Have you got a name for it? Is the album or
The album's called Sport in Peace.
Sporting Piece?
Yeah.
One
But,
word, sporting or sport in?
Nah, one word, sport in, and then peace.
Sorry,
You're
just
sporting a
for the
jacket,
record.
like sport in peace.
Okay, nice.
That's the most excited about. Like, I'm excited about the punk band and everything, but I feel like my solo album is like, I think it's like best I've ever made. So
Nice.
can't wait.
That's really good. Really good to have you in, mate, and listen to the one half of your life, and now moving on to the next. Obviously,
Sick.
you're at peace, and you seem like you're happy, which is good.
Yeah.
It's been a really good pleasure. One thing I like to do before you do go is a couple of questions.
Go on.
What you rather questions,
Yeah.
if that's okay. So, Crepes, Vans or Converse?
Connie's, Chuck Taylor's, yeah.
What are you wearing
Converse.
now? Vans, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm wearing Vans
You're a
now.
Converse guy. Okay.
I'm wearing Vans now, but I feel like Converse are just such a iconic, innit?
Okay. Okay, then punk or grime?
Punk.
Okay.
If you said punk or rap, still punk. Sorry.
Well, you'd be tough. It'd be harder just to say rap, but it'd be.
Yeah, listen. If you were gonna ask me the most difficult question in the world, it would be punk or reggae.
Punk or reggae?
Reggae.
Ooh, okay.
But it's like that.
I thought you were just gonna stick with punk.
Nah, reggae is the best, but it's just like they're my two tops, innit? So.
Okay. So, like you said, you've been everywhere. You didn't want to say Europe because it's very vast as a continent, but UK tour or European tour?
UK.
Why?
I like the familiarities you have in the UK tour. Like
Okay.
with the people there, do you get what I mean? But energy, I gotta give it to Europe. For energy, like,
Nice.
they don't care.
You was in a band. Obviously, you played live instruments.
Yeah.
Would you rather perform in front of live instruments or a recorded sound?
Like a DJ, or you mean like a band?
Yeah.
Band.
Sorry, DJ. or
Band. Because with a band, yeah, you can expand showmanship on stage. You can make songs go extra and gaps, and you can do things to make the show hit harder. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay. So I do know two of your mixtapes or EPs you've done with Astroid Boys. So you had Bacon Dream and CF10.
Yeah,
So which one would you prefer, Bacon Dream or CF10?
CF10. Even though Bacon Dream was the more popular one, I just think CF10 was just better.
Okay. Signed or independent?
Depends who I'm signing to. Like, who's asking? Like, if it was the right label, then signed. I don't mind.
Yeah. Interesting. These are just some little light-hearted ones now. So are you a mild or a spice man?
Spice.
If one
Pepper
of these...
spice though, not chili spice.
Okay.
Like a jerk spice over a Vindaloo, like.
Yeah, it's
Is it
not fun.
Vindaloo?
Vindaloo.
Vindaloo.
It sounded like you said Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel.
Vindaloo. I don't know about them curries there, but them ones are too much. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want it to
I
burn
don't
your
like
tongue,
spice,
you
man.
want it to burn
A
your
Vin
throat.
Diesel, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
A Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Like a jerk is like,
Yeah.
like here, innit?
Yeah.
Proper Vin
Yeah.
Diesel.
If one of these people could see your browse history, your search history, your missus or your mother, who would you rather not
Either,
see
I
it?
don't mind. They're just going to get bored searching random things.
Okay.
That nothing
So you,
does.
if you say so.
Where can I buy a Vin Diesel?
Yeah.
Vin Diesel.
And I'm saying this to everyone. If you had two superpowers, one to help, one for yourself, what would they be? Starting with your own.
One for myself
Yeah.
and one to help.
One for
Another
yourself
person.
and one to for the so say like one to like cure the disease, one to you know,
Yeah.
one selfish one, one unselfish one sort of thing?
One for other people is just the first thing that comes to my head as well. It's not like premeditated, so I could probably think of something better. But off top, maybe to like click my fingers and then all drugs and weapons disappeared. So if people were gonna fight, it would have to be old school, and if were people gonna take drugs, and maybe they'd have to like brew alcohol or something, but they ain't. Like,
That's mad.
drugs are gone. Do you get me? Everyone would just be on cold turkey, like on a mad one.
Yeah.
But I just think, like, imagine that as a reset for mankind.
Yeah.
Do you get me? If everyone just had a reset, like, do you know what I mean?
Dopamine.
Maybe actually not. I can't really say that, because imagine if you took drugs away from people, a lot of people probably would die, innit?
Yeah, but if you took the problem of you know, if there weren't a problem of drugs in the first place, if we never knew
Yeah.
any better, it's like you know, before there was cancer treatment, you never had chemo before.
And also I'm thinking too much now, like slums, like the favelas in Brazil, like the whole drug cartel, like they fund entire provinces in Brazil
I
off
know what you're
drugs, but
saying.
then at the same time the drugs are bad, but the people survive. I don't know. I was just over it straight away.
I
but
think I need to
you
switch
got the
that question, because a lot
intention.
of people will just say they want to help people. So what about yourself, and what superpower?
No, I'm good, you know. Don't really want one.
No?
Just to be healthy and strong. Like I care a lot about living healthy, long and strong. Do you get me?
Nice.
I want to make it to 100. Like that's what I've said it since I was young. So strong and healthy until I'm 100. That's it.
Cool. Well, TRAXX, honestly, it's been a real pleasure having you on.
Thank you, bro.
It's been emotional. It's been fun. It's been educational.
Yeah.
And I hope you come along another time soon. Obviously, we'll see what happens with your solo music career and with XL. I wish you all the best. Anything you want to say,
Thank
boys?
you.
Thank you, bro. Honestly, it's always an inspiration. Anyways, you've inspired me a lot. So yeah, it's a pleasure.
Thank you, bro.
Luke?
Appreciate it.
man. It was a blessed conversation to witness.
You were just sat there, just loving it, weren't you?
Soaking it in, bro.
With the strongest hairline in the game. Jealous, I am.
Okay then. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening in. Take care. See you soon.
Bless.
The Central Club.